Today, we are in the beautiful city of Capetown, located in South Africa. Capetown welcomed 2.4 million overnight visitors last year. This included 1.44 million international visitors, with a significant number of visitors also traveling through the city for single-day trips. Capetown is renowned for its iconic Table Mountain, which offers stunning views and a variety of hiking trails. The city's harbor and natural setting in the Cape Floristic region are also significant attractions. Capetown's cultural diversity is reflected in its colorful neighborhoods, vibrant street art, and diverse cuisine, including Cape Malay dishes. The V&A waterfront is a must-see, featuring a bustling atmosphere, restaurants, shops, and harbor cruises. For wine enthusiasts, the nearby Cape Winelands offer a multitude of vineyards to explore. Capetown's natural wonders include the Table Mountain National Park, home to South Africa's highest household incomes, and the Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden, which contains 5 of South Africa's 6 biomes. The city's climate is similar to both California and the Mediterranean, making it a popular destination for outdoor activities like hiking, paragliding, and biking. Capetown's festivals and events include the Kapsi Klopse Music Carnival, Freedom Day, and the Capetown International Kite Festival. If you are ever planning to go to South Africa, Capetown is an absolutely must-see place to visit to take in the beautiful scenery. Table Mountain is an award-winning destination and is one of the new 7 wonders of nature and offers unparalleled views of Capetown. Flanked by Devil's Peak and Lion's Head, this iconic attraction makes up the northern end of the Cape Fold mountain range. The starting cost to go to Table Mountain is $50, and if you would like to have a guided tour, costs can range from $40 to $80. The cafe at top of the mountain can cost from $15 to $25. The mountain, home to over 1,460 species of fynbos and animals such as the caracal, mongoose, and dassie, has been a protected area for over 100 years. The quickest way to the top is by using the Table Mountain Aerial Cableway, leaving you plenty of time to explore the many activities up the mountain. While on the Table Mountain, you can go on a free guided walking tour between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. The 30-minute trip departs from the 12 Apostles Terrace, located below the cafe, every hour. The walks are conducted by the Table Mountain Aerial Cableway staff, who know how to delve into the story of Table Mountain and the cableway. There are also self-guided walks you can enjoy, ranging from 15 to 45 minutes. These include the Dassie Walk, 15 minutes, Agama Walk, 30 minutes, and Klipspringer Walk, 45 minutes. The walks are beginner-friendly, and each offers unique views of the city.
Themselves, starting here, that would be Signal Hill, about 350 meters above sea level. Next to it is Lion's Head, which is 669 meters above sea level. Lion's Head got its name because back in the day we used to have Cape lions roaming in this spot. They're now extinct, unfortunately, but we had a lot of wild animals roaming here, from elephants to lions. That's where they got the name. But also, if you have a good imagination, the 2 mountains looks like an animal sitting down. This being the rump of the animal, and that being the head. And then Table Mountain, of course, nice and flat, 1,067 meters above sea level. Next to it is Devil's Peak, 1,000 meters above sea level. And then that's the Constantiaberg and the 12 Apostles on this side. 12 Apostles because we used to have 12 peaks back in the day, but some say we pray a lot. We now have 18 apostles if you are the types. Yes. But we still call them the 12. The 5 dams still there today. This is one of them. That's the second one, the third, the fourth, and then the 5th one. So Today they contribute about 5% of the city's waters, but back in the day, that was the main reason why the Dutch chose to establish the settlement in this area. This is where now the city center is.
Indigenous beginnings pre-1652. For thousands of years, the region was inhabited by the San, hunter-gatherers, and Kuko, historically known for herding livestock and speaking click-based Ku languages. Around the first millennium CE, Bantu-speaking farmers migrated from the north, introducing agriculture and ironworking to the eastern and northern regions. Then came the Dutch colonization and the VOC. In 1652, Jan van Riebeeck established a resupply station at the Cape of Good Hope for the Dutch East India Company, VOC. This led to permanent European settlement, the displacement of local Kuko populations, and the importation of enslaved people from East Africa and Asia, laying the groundwork for a deeply stratified society. Following this was the British rule and the Great Trek 1795 to 1830s. The British seized the Cape Colony. Dissatisfied with British policies and the abolition of slavery, thousands of Dutch-descended farmers, Boers or Afrikaners, migrated inland during the Great Trek, clashing with established African kingdoms like the Zulu and Southern Sotho. Then came the Mineral Revolution and Boer Wars, which was from 1867 to 1902, the discovery of diamonds in Kimberley, 1867, and gold on the Witwatersrand, 1886, transformed an agrarian economy into an industrial powerhouse. This immense wealth fueled intense British imperial ambition, culminating in the brutal Anglo-Boer War, 1899 to 1902. The British won, consolidating the territory under the Crown. Then came the rise of apartheid in 1948, following the formation of the Union of South Africa in 1910. White minority rule was institutionalized. In 1948, the Afrikaner-dominated National Party came to power and officially implemented apartheid, which means apartness. It was a strict, legalized system of racial segregation and disenfranchisement. This system was cruel and saw the deaths of 21,000 blacks after apartheid. Then came the struggle and democracy in 1994, decades of internal resistance led by the African National Congress, and figures like Nelson Mandela, civil unrest, international sanctions, and economic pressure forced the regime to negotiate. In 1994, South Africa held its first fully democratic elections, electing Nelson Mandela as its first president. With its laid-back farm vibe, awesome eateries, and loads of entertainment, it's no wonder Noordhoek Farm Village is one of Cape Town's most loved local hangouts. This unique village is home to Frank Dangerou's latest culinary adventure, the Food Barn Cafe and Tapas. Frank Dangerou has worked in Michelin star restaurants and founded La Colombe restaurant, which was voted Restaurant of the Year 6 times. Just 25 minutes from the city, you'll also find a cozy country pub, live entertainment at Café Rue, the Cape's best bakery, handcrafted ice cream, a raw juice bar, a boutique hotel with an underground bar, a wide range of shops, and so much more. To get to Farm Village from Cape Town with a taxi, it is $11 to $14 US. At Noordhoek Farm Village, you can let your hair down at one of the lively events. Sing along to live music acts at Café Rue. Find local treasures at the weekly market. Soak up some culture at arts and crafts shows, and remember, there is more to soak in. Welcome to the Cape of Good Hope, a legendary headland on the Atlantic coast of the Cape Peninsula in South Africa. Famous for its rugged scenery, crashing waves, and rich maritime history, this iconic spot was once a crucial milestone for early explorers navigating the treacherous seas between Europe and Asia. Today, it is a protected nature reserve within Table Mountain National Park, home to wild ostriches, baboons, and stunning coastal hiking trails. Because of its incredible beauty and historical significance, the Cape of Good Hope welcomes nearly 1 million visitors every single year. For international travelers, standard gate entry costs 515 South African Rand per adult, which is about 28 US dollars, and 250 Rand for kids. If you are a South African citizen, the adult rate is just 110 Rand. Standing at this beautiful southwestern most point of the African continent is truly an unforgettable travel experience today. Visiting Cape Point involves taking an unforgettable day trip down the Cape Peninsula to a place that genuinely feels like the absolute edge of the earth. Located inside a vast nature reserve at the southwestern tip of the African continent, Cape Point is famous for its towering stone cliffs, rolling sea mists, and incredibly dramatic coastal landscapes. If you're building your perfect Cape Town itinerary, this wild ocean-facing paradise is a complete non-negotiable. Over the next 4 to 5 minutes, we're breaking down everything you need to see here, the fascinating wildlife you'll encounter, and the exact cost to get through the gates. Getting here is an experience all its own. The drive from downtown Cape Town takes about an hour and a half, winding down the coast along iconic routes like Chapman's Peak Drive. Once you officially cross into the Cape of Good Hope section of Table Mountain National Park, the landscape shifts into a raw, untouched wilderness. The entire peninsula is blanketed in fynbos, a highly specialized, incredibly dense type of shrubland vegetation that grows natively only in this specific region of South Africa. As you head deeper into the reserve, the roads open up to reveal pristine, completely isolated beaches like Platboom and Buffels Bay. The air out here is crisp, clean, and carrying a massive ocean breeze that reminds you exactly how remote you really are. The absolute centerpiece of Cape Point is the soaring peak where the historic old lighthouse stands, perched more than 800 feet above the crashing waves. To get up there, you can brave a steep, lung-burning paved path, or you can hop onto the Flying Dutchman funicular, a custom, eco-friendly rail system that effortlessly glides up the mountain through the thick brush. Once you reach the top lookout deck, the ocean views are completely transcendent. Interestingly, this historic 1860 lighthouse actually sits too high up. It was so frequently blocked by low-hanging sea fog that ships couldn't see it, leading to numerous maritime disasters. Because of that, a second lower lighthouse was constructed right down near the water's edge, which still safely guides ships past these rocky points today. But Cape Point isn't just about spectacular ocean lookouts. It's also a vibrant, thriving ecosystem packed with protected wildlife. As you explore, you're highly likely to spot wild ostriches walking right along the sandy beaches, or a troop of Chakme baboons roaming near the parking zones. A quick safety tip: keep a close eye on your bags because these baboons are incredibly smart and notoriously bold. Because of this incredible combination of pristine nature, diverse wildlife, and dramatic history, Cape Point is exceptionally popular. On average, this spectacular reserve welcomes more than 900,000 visitors per year from all over the globe. Yet despite almost 1 million annual guests, the park remains immaculately clean, peaceful, and wild. All right, let's talk logistics and numbers so you can budget perfectly for your trip. For international travelers, the standard adult park conservation fee is 515 South African Rand, which is about 28 US dollars, and 250 Rand for children. If you're a local South African citizen, the entry fee is heavily discounted to just 110 Rand for adults. If you want to ride the funicular to the lighthouse, a return ticket will cost an extra 115 Rand for adults and 60 Rand for kids. My top tip? Pack a solid windbreaker because the breeze up here is fierce. so it is better to arrive early to beat the tour buses.
People expect the penguins to be in one spot, but it's not the case. They're spread out from the line is parked in the parking lot, in all these nice vegetation, all the way to the second parking lot, you get penguins, so they're nicely spread out. It's the only place to find, but they don't go too far. They use up all the penguins, so they use the place to go to the shore, and they don't before they get penguins. So they are taking even that the penguins down the line in the climate, and the ones that
Boulders Beach is a sheltered beach made up of inlets between granite boulders, from which the name originated. It is located on the Cape Peninsula in Simonstown, in the southern region of Capetown, South Africa. The beach is a popular tourist spot because of a colony of the endemic and critically endangered African penguins, which settled there in 1982. Boulders Beach forms part of the Table Mountain National Park. Although set in a residential area, it is one of the few sites where this vulnerable bird can be observed at close range, wandering freely in a protected natural environment. From just 2 breeding pairs in 1982, the penguin colony has grown to about 3,000 birds in recent years. This is partly due to the prohibition of commercial pelagic trawling in False Bay, which has increased the supply of sardines and anchovies.
After the use of the fruits and the vegetable garden, it has been transformed into ornamental garden. But from 1913, with the creation of the establishment of the memorial, this side has this section is a war memorial. You can see combatants in the First and the Second War. These are the fighters, the fighters in the First and the Second War, and those sticks are a symbol of all South Africans who died in the First and the Second World War.
Which sticks?
Yeah, these are memorials of the
Is that Egyptian ducks?
Yeah, Egyptian ducks. This is a statue of Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes was he was once Prime Minister of the Cape Colony, and he was a very successful businessman. He is among the first people to create the De Beers Diamond Company. So he was very rich, and from that money he got to not continue his ambition because he died young at 49. But before dying, all his properties, he got big lands, all the eastern side of the Table Mountain, whose land was for him.
So he is a guy that sell the land to
Yes.
cover for the national park.
Yes, sir.
There was a guy that sold his land and take it for national park.
Yes, it's him who was owning most of the properties, most important properties on this Cape Peninsula. including
Thank you. 'Cause every little thing has gotta be upright. Thank you so much.
Well, let me song you. Coco Holis.
About a thing. 'Cause every little thing gotta be upright. Rise up this morning, come on. Start with the rain and sun. Pretty little birds. By my lonesome. Sing a sweet song. Melodies purring too. Saying this is my message to you. Thank you.
St. George Cathedral of Archbishop Desmond Tutu was a huge activist during the apartheid era, and this church is also called People's Church because this church contributed much in the protest against apartheid regime. Most of the protests against apartheid regime were organized in this church. Under the crypt there is caves where people used to hide whenever the police was coming to get them. They used to hide in the crypts, under the crypts. So organizing the protest, then with the arrival of the police, they used to hide in the crypts, under the crypts. And this St. George Mall gave its name to the whole complex of this shopping mall. Following this corridor down, he visited Germany. In 1996, they gave him this gift, this piece of Berlin, which used to be a division between the two Berlins.
The two wall, the
Now
wall, the
it
Berlin
has-
Wall.
Yes, it has been destroyed. The Berlin has been unified. Then it's also a symbol of a unification of South African society. That's why it is a symbol of this gift as a South African society unification.
The Castle of Good Hope stands as a striking pentagonal fortress built by the Dutch East India Company between 1666 and 1679. Walking through its massive gates offers an immediate sense of how European maritime trade routes dramatically reshaped the region. It replaced a temporary clay and timber fort built by Jan van Riebeeck upon his arrival in 1652, marking the permanent establishment of a colonial footprint at the Cape. The fortress features 5 distinct bastions named after the titles of the Prince of Orange, Leerdam, Buren, Katzenelnbogen, Nassau, and Oranje, built to withstand both maritime attacks and conflicts with the indigenous Khoi people. The Donker Gat, Dark Hole. Visitors can see the notorious windowless dungeon used to hold prisoners during the castle's history, providing a sobering look at colonial-era punishment and captivity. Today, the fortress serves as a multifaceted cultural space housing excellent museums that detail South Africa's military history and early colonial life. The exhibitions present a comprehensive, unvarnished look at the conflicts, slavery, and cultural shifts that shaped the modern nation. Nestled on the edge of the historic Grand Parade, Capetown City Hall stands as one of the city's most striking and historically significant civic landmarks. Completed in 1905, this grand Edwardian building was designed in the Italian Renaissance style following a public architecture competition, serving as a powerful symbol of early 20th century civic pride. The exterior is constructed from honey-colored limestone, imported all the way from Bath, England, giving the structure its distinctively warm, elegant glow. Its most prominent feature is a central clock tower that rises nearly 40 meters above the square. The tower houses a magnificent turret clock and a 39-bell carry-on, the largest instrument of its kind in southern Africa, which was modeled after the famous Big Ben clock tower in London at exactly half the scale. Step inside and you'll find an opulent interior filled with imported Italian marble, rich mosaic floors, and beautiful stained glass windows. At the heart of the main auditorium sits a massive pipe organ featuring over 3,000 individual pipes, creating an acoustic marvel that makes it a world-class venue for classical music. Today, the building serves as the premier home of the Capetown Philharmonic Orchestra, hosting regular concerts, public exhibitions, and major community gatherings. Beyond its stunning architecture, City Hall holds a deeply sacred place in the story of modern South Africa. On February 11, 1990, just hours after his release from Victor Verster prison, Nelson Mandela stood on the building's front balcony to deliver his first public address in 27 years to an ecstatic crowd of thousands waiting on the Grand Parade below. Today, a life-size bronze statue of Mandela stands permanently on that exact balcony, looking out over the square to commemorate that monumental step toward freedom and democracy.
So guys, this is King Edward. And he has a little friend on top of his head.
European church in South Africa.
This one here?
And yeah, this on the left hand side is a church, back of the church. So the church was part of the whole administration of the Cape Colony. Fruits and vegetables from the garden. So later on, it became just it is a gift place. But initially, the green market, as the name says, it used to be a place where they used to sell all the vegetables.
If you're looking for the heart of Cape Town's social and cultural scene, the Victoria and Alfred waterfront, or simply the V&A, is exactly where you want to be. Situated right in South Africa's oldest working harbor, it seamlessly blends rich maritime history with a vibrant, modern energy, all set against the breathtaking backdrop of Table Mountain. Named after Queen Victoria and her son Prince Alfred, who initiated the harbor's construction back in 1860. This bustling hub spans over 120 hectares. Today, it's far more than just a port. It's a massive entertainment destination attracting millions of visitors every year. As you wander along the water, you'll hear live buskers and local musicians filling the air. The harbor is packed with world-class restaurants, local artisan markets like the Watershed, and extensive retail spaces. For a bit of culture, you can visit the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary Art Africa, housed in a historic grain silo, or stop by the Two Oceans Aquarium to see the incredible marine life where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans meet. The V&A is also a crucial historical gateway. It's the launching point for the ferry to Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. Whether you're stopping by for a sunset boat cruise, a world-class meal, or just a scenic walk, the waterfront perfectly captures Cape Town's unique coastal maritime spirit.
Okay. And what's your name, sir?
I'm Ruwan.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. It's on record.
You shouldn't be having to think about it. Always control. Are you okay?
Port Control, Cape Town Port Control, you're to Horizon over.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Okay, alright, so currently we are out in Table Bay. So right over here, where we've got the Victoria waterfront, and then our view by the big wheel, directly above it, the mountain peak, that is Devil's Peak. And there's also a face of the devil in the mountain, in Devil's Peak. That's why it's called Devil's Peak. So if you take a look at the rock face over there, it's a profile of the devil lying down on his back, looking up into the sky. The very highest tip of the mountain, that's the very tip of his nose. If you follow it all the way to the right, you get his eyes and his eyebrow. Take the top, come down to the left, you get his mouth and his long beard at the end. That is the devil. And then over here where the stadium is, that is Green Point. And Green Point stretches all the way to the lighthouse over there at the far end of the shoreline there. And then from the lighthouse onwards, you get Sea Point. And then go further around the corner, you get to Capetown and Capetown Bay. The lighthouse that we have on the coastline over there,
Yeah.
that is Billy Point Lighthouse. It was built in 1854, so it's currently 202 years old.
Wow.
Beautiful stunning place. And then we got Robben Island over there on the right. And there's about 16 kilometers.
Oh, that's on the right view.
In Table Bay, every now and then we are very fortunate and blessed to be to spot whales out here. So we got about 3 different whale species that tend to come and venture into our waters, and they normally come in from around August to February, but mainly in August, September, that's when they're mainly in the bay, and then they'll move up along the coast to Hermanus, also known as the Whale Coast, and that's where most of the tourists will go to and do some whale watching. But when they come out to the bay, one of the most common ones that we see is the southern right whales, the humpbacks, and the bright whales. So those are the 3 main ones that we see. This year, 2026, we were very fortunate that they were a bit delayed, so they came in a bit later. So from February till about April, they were here in the bay, and we had some amazing sightseeing of breaching, and also some young calves that mom brought along. So yeah, maybe we're going to check out the whale season here in Cape Town.
Right, so on the coastline, there's a piece of metal sticking out of the water, and that is part of a shipwreck, part of the engine group, also RMS Athens. She went down in the middle 1800s, where all life on board was lost. The only survivor was a little pig that they found on the shore, and they're still baffled how that thing survived and not the other crew members. But during that storm, there was over 13 ships that also met their fate, and that's why the Cape was stolen and sustained so many lives and so many ships out at sea.
When you look out over Table Bay from the shores of Bluebergstrand, you are witnessing one of the world's most spectacular intersections of urban life and untamed nature. This sweeping body of water, covering roughly 100 square kilometers, forms the dynamic front porch of Cape Town. For centuries, it has served as a critical refuge and maritime gateway for explorers, trade ships, and travelers rounding the Cape of Good Hope. Naturally sheltered by the historic silhouette of Robben Island out in the channel, the bay manages to support a bustling commercial harbor while keeping its wild Atlantic core entirely intact. Despite its vast appearance and the powerful rolling swells of the South Atlantic, Table Bay is actually a surprisingly shallow marine basin. The ocean floor here consists mostly of sandy patches and exposed bedrock that slopes gently from the eastern beaches out toward the open ocean in the west. On average, the bay maintains a depth of just 20 meters. Even at its deepest point, located right at the center of its mouth where the bay meets the open sea, it plunges down to only about 35 meters. Because it is relatively shallow, the water column responds dramatically to local wind patterns, which drives cold, nutrient-dense water up from the ocean floor. It is exactly these nutrient-rich upwellings that turn Table Bay into a thriving sanctuary for marine life, most notably its incredible whale visitors. From June through November, the bay serves as a crucial sanctuary for migrating southern right and humpback whales, traveling from icy Antarctic waters to mate and calve. However, a truly spectacular phenomenon also occurs during the sunnier summer months. In February and March, massive concentrations of krill draw what scientists call supergroups of humpback whales right to the bay's doorstep. It is an unbelievable sight to witness dozens of these massive, multi-ton creatures lunging, diving, and tail-slapping in unison just a short distance from the urban shoreline. Together with resident brides, whales, dolphins, and Cape Fur seals, they turn the bay into a living theater.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. I always wanted one of those. Yeah.
Those were the stuff you see the few buses of the En ever aan de olie, dat was...
Van mij, Mrs. Yates, and Mr. Mandela owned us. And I don't want the first lady of America to get into a truck like that. You know, when Mandela talked, we rushed to the mainland, purchased a brand new bus, 1.3 million for the occasion. That's unfortunate. The cargo boat had supposed to have brought the bus over broke down. So desperate were our power. They hired a helicopter to bring the bus across. Between the mainland and the island, a cruise store. The cable snapped. And down went 1.3 million. And at the end of the day, poor Mrs. He returned to bed to get it. And I can tell you, Georgie thoroughly had a lot of fun with every year. Let us go politics. Something completely amazing about vegetation on the island, the plants on there. And you must have noticed by now.
Though Robben Island is famous for its prison, but tucked away in the island's village, sits a surprising piece of history, the Garrison Church. Built by the British in 1841 using convict labor, this classic stone structure was originally a place of worship for military guards and their families. Later, it offered a rare sanctuary of solace when the island became a forced colony for leprosy patients, and eventually a maximum security prison. Beautifully restored today, it's a quiet reminder that layers of deep, complex history await around every corner of this historic island. Captain Richard Wolfe was responsible for building this church. He took command of the prison in 1833. This is Robben Island. Flat, isolated, and surrounded by the freezing currents of the Atlantic Ocean. For centuries, it was a place of exile. But for 18 years, it was home to Prisoner 4664. Long before he became a global icon, he was Rolihlahla Mandela, born on July 18, 1918, in the small South African village of Mvezo. A school teacher would later give him the name Nelson. Born into royalty, he chose a different path, the fight for human dignity. As the brutal system of apartheid legally enforced racial segregation in 1948, Mandela stepped into the fire. He became a lawyer, an activist, and a leader of the African National Congress, dedicating his youth to tearing down the walls of oppression, but the struggle brought immense sacrifice. Captured by the regime, Mandela was sentenced to life in prison during the 1964 Rivonia trial. He was brought here to Robben Island, in a cell just 7 feet square, with a bucket for a toilet and the cold floor for a bed. They tried to break his spirit. Forced to break rocks in the blinding glare of the lime quarry, Mandela did not break. Instead, this prison became a university of resistance. Through sheer dignity, he led his fellow inmates, studied his captors, and kept the flame of freedom burning from behind bars. In 1990, after 27 total years in captivity, the world watched him walk free. His triumph was not just surviving, but forgiving. In 1994, he was elected South Africa's first black president, uniting a fractured nation under a banner of reconciliation. Nelson Mandela passed away in 2013, but his legacy lives on. When you stand on Robben Island today, you aren't just looking at an old prison. You are standing in the crucible where a prisoner transformed into the father of a nation.
At the gates, searching you, counting you maybe for the third time or fourth time. Maybe searching you for the second time or third time, depending on how they feel on that particular day. Usually, people only search you, but sometimes they will do.
Before holding political prisoners, Robben Island was defined by its geography. Named by 17th century Dutch settlers after the Dutch word for seals, this isolated outpost first served as a refueling station for European explorers and a sanctuary for local wildlife. Because of the treacherous shark-infested waters of Table Bay, it quickly became a place of banishment. For nearly a century, starting in 1846, the island was transformed into a forced leper colony and a medical infirmary, where thousands deemed socially unfit were permanently isolated from the mainland. It was also a graveyard for ships, with over 20 historic wrecks dotting the reef. By World War II, the island shifted roles again, fortified with heavy coastal artillery guns to defend Cape Town from naval attacks. From wildlife haven to leper colony, on military fortress to living museum, Robben Island carries 5 centuries of secrets buried beneath the surface. If you're landing in Cape Town for the very first time, you're probably facing a beautiful problem. This city is massive, and its top sites are completely spread out. You've got the bustling V&A waterfront in the center, the rugged slopes of Table Mountain towering above, the historic, colorful streets of the Bo-Kaap, and the dramatic Atlantic coastline blocks away. Trying to navigate all of this on day one using local taxis or ride shares can feel overwhelming, stressful, and honestly, a bit expensive. That is exactly why jumping on the iconic open-top city sightseeing red bus is the absolute best move you can make on your first morning. First off, it gives you a seamless, stress-free layout of the land. Instead of staring at your phone's GPS, you can sit back on the top deck and visually connect the dots of the city. The red bus network is divided into brilliant, color-coded routes that cover everything. The classic red route takes you right through the city bowl and directly to the Table Mountain Cableway Station, saving you the massive headache of trying to find parking up that steep mountain road. Meanwhile, the blue route loops around the back of the mountain, taking you to the breathtaking Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens and out to the coastal beauty of Hout Bay. There's even a purple route that takes you straight into the historic Constantia Wine Valley. Secondly, let's talk about comfort and safety. For a first-time international visitor, getting your bearings in a new destination can come with a bit of anxiety. The red bus acts as a secure, incredibly safe buffer zone. The pickup and drop-off points are well-marked, highly visible, and located in public, heavily monitored tourist areas. Plus, you get a bird's-eye view of the city streets from the upper deck, completely elevated away from the standard traffic chaos. And if the weather turns, as Cape Town's famously windy weather often does, You can easily move downstairs to the fully enclosed, air-conditioned lower deck. Thirdly, it's not just a ride, it's a guide. When you board, you're handed a pair of headphones. Plug them in and you'll get a rich, engaging audio commentary available in 15 languages. As you pass landmarks like the Castle of Good Hope or the historic District 6, you'll learn the deep, sometimes heartbreaking, and always fascinating history of South Africa. But the absolute best feature is the hop-on, hop-off flexibility. See a beach you like at Camps Bay? Hop off, dip your toes in the Atlantic, grab a coffee, and just catch the next bus 15 minutes later. You are completely in control of your own pace. Ultimately, the Red Bus transforms your first day from a stressful logistics puzzle into a scenic, breezy safari through one of the most beautiful cities on Earth. It gives you context, confidence, and safety. Buy a 1 or 2 day ticket right at the start of your trip, secure that top deck seat, and let Cape Town introduce itself to you. The Hop-on Hop-off bus tour. When you're visiting a city with massive mountains, winding coastlines, and a sprawling wine country, figuring out how to get around can be overwhelming. But what if I told you there's a single ticket that takes you to almost every major landmark in the city, lets you explore at your own pace, and gives you a sun-drenched open-air view while you do it? Today, we are breaking down everything you need to know about the city sightseeing hop-on, hop-off bus in Cape Town. If you've traveled to any major city, you've probably seen these iconic, bright red, double-decker buses. But Cape Town's version is arguably one of the most scenic in the world. The cost is $21 for one adult, and the concept is simple. Buses run on continuous loops throughout the day. You buy a ticket, hop on at any designated stop, ride it to an attraction you want to see, hop off, explore, and when you're done, you just wait for the next bus to come around and hop back on. In Cape Town, your ticket gives you access to 3 distinct routes. First, you've got the Red City Tour. This is your classic downtown loop. It takes you through the City Bowl, past Long Street, and, most importantly, drops you right at the base of the Table Mountain Aerial Cableway. Then, there's the Blue Mini Peninsula Tour. This one takes you on a wider loop around the back of Table Mountain, through lush botanical gardens into Hout Bay, and brings you back right along the spectacular Atlantic coastline through Camps Bay. Finally, the Purple Wine Tour. You actually switch to a smaller bus for this one in Constantia, and it takes you directly to 3 historic wine estates where you can hop off and do some world-class wine tasting.